Zionism is the ideological foundation upon which the State of Israel was established. Emerging in late 19th century Europe, it was a distinctive form of nationalism and a historical response by the Jewish people to the widespread antisemitism of the time. The core objectives of Zionism. Early political Zionism had two primary goals: to encourage and facilitate Jewish immigration to Palestine, with the aim of re-establishing a national homeland there, to gain the support and recognition of the international community, especially the major Western powers, in order to realize the vision of a Jewish state. Under the leadership of early figures such as Theodor Herzl, Chaim Weizmann, and David Ben-Gurion, Zionism achieved its central objective with the founding of the State of Israel in 1948, after roughly half a century of effort. 2. A new phase after statehood. The transformation of its historical mission after Israel's establishment, its political, economic, social, and cultural development continued to follow the trajectory laid down by Zionist ideology. Yet once the core objective, the creation of a Jewish state, had been achieved, Zionism, in a sense, completed its historical mission and gradually receded from its previous dominant role. By the late 1970s, with the end of the Labour Party's long period of political dominance, Israel entered a post-Zionist era. Ideology began to diversify. Liberalism, nationalism, and religious forces gained influence, while the older socialist-oriented Zionism steadily declined. 3. Tension between secular and religious forces. Zionism was essentially secular. In the Jewish state, Herzl explicitly rejected the idea of a theocracy and insisted that religion should not dominate state governance. In Israel's early years, Ben-Gurion and other founding leaders kept religious political influence tightly constrained. However, from the 1970s onward, religious nationalist movements grew rapidly. The rise of parties such as Gush Emunim and Shas expanded religious influence in both politics and society. Some religious factions even advocated turning Israel into a religious state, an idea far removed from the vision of Zionism's founders. The expansion of religious power not only weakened secular Zionism, but also made many secular Jews feel that their personal freedoms were threatened. At the same time, it deepened the cultural and religious divide between Israeli Jews and the largely non-Orthodox Jewish communities in the West. 4. Social tensions and group disparities. According to early Zionist ideals, Israel was supposed to be a democratic, egalitarian, and free society. In reality, both Arab citizens and different Jewish communities, such as Mizrahi and Ashkenazi Jews, have faced varying degrees of inequality and unequal access to resources. Certain extreme religious nationalist factions advocate the vision of a greater Israel, seeking to restore a biblical-era territorial map across all of historic Palestine, often disregarding international law, human rights, and democratic principles. This stance sharply contrasts with the aspirations of early Zionist leaders. The decline of Zionist institutions. Throughout a century of Zionist activity, several institutions played crucial roles, including Kibbutzim Moshevim, the Histadrut, General Federation of Labor, the Jewish Agency, the World Zionist Organization. These bodies were immensely influential before and immediately after statehood. But today, their importance has diminished significantly. For example, the World Zionist Organization and the Jewish Agency, while nominally representing Jews worldwide, have effectively become extensions of the government, largely focused on managing immigration. 6. The decline and transformation of the kibbutz. The kibbutz was once Israel's most iconic social experiment, built on a fully collective lifestyle guided by the principle of from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. It served as a powerful national symbol. However, in recent decades, kibbutzim have undergone profound transformation, declining numbers and population, from about 4% of Israel's population down to around 2.7%. with few new immigrants choosing to join. Economic capitalization. Many kibbutzim have shifted into agro-industrial enterprises, hiring external labor and increasingly resembling capitalist firms. Household-based living. Collective lifestyles have been reduced, economic disparities between families have grown, and internal inequality has emerged. The shift from national symbol to ordinary economic entity reflects Israel's broader transition from collectivism toward market-driven individualism. 7. The Six-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. Ideological turning points. The 1967 Six-Day War was a major watershed in Israeli society. Israel captured large areas of Arab territory, dramatically expanding both its physical and psychological space. National confidence surged, and the historic trauma of persecution seemed to fade temporarily. Although the 1973 Yom Kippur War was a shock, Israel retained control of the occupied territories. Yet the war shattered the myth of infallible national leadership and encouraged political and ideological diversification. Together, these wars propelled Israel into the era of post-Zionism. 8. From a democratic state to a nation-state. A new national identity. Israel's Declaration of Independence emphasized freedom, justice, and equality, protection of religious, linguistic, and cultural rights, commitment to democracy, and the principles of the United Nations Charter. But in recent decades, Israel has gradually moved away from the declaration's original direction. In 2014, the Israeli cabinet approved the nation-state law, formally defining Israel as the nation-state of the Jewish people. Its most controversial provision was removing Arabic as an official language. This decision marked a turning point in the long-standing debate between Israel as a democratic state and Israel as a Jewish nation-state. Explaining the law, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated, "Israel is the nation-state of the Jewish people. We are committed to full equality of individual rights for all citizens, but national rights belong exclusively to the Jewish people."